So could you speak, I guess, for a minute about like how's the concept of neutrality and non-alignment changed since during the Cold War period through today? How the idea of what neutrality or non-alignment has been on the international level has changed?
Seen from the long-term perspective, European neutrality, especially the cases of Finland, Austria, but also Sweden, and in some terms also Switzerland, of course, means getting away from the Soviet Union. So to reduce Soviet influence to a minimum, Austrian neutrality was something, of course, based on a document, on a treaty signed in 1955 by all great superpowers, in opposite of Finland, where they had no document, at least on the security treaty between Finland and the Soviet Union. But it is something like a permanent struggle for fully sovereignty in the Cold War, also in the case of Sweden from the very beginnings. So the concept of neutrality changes, of course, over the decades. Cold War is over, neutrality is seen from today's perspective is something else. We do not have anymore, of course, these classical blocks. They disappeared in 1990, 1991. But today, as we see, something like a bloc confrontation comes back, and the role at least always can be the kind of being mediators between blocs, but not necessarily between blocs, also between two parties of conflict.
So kind of coming from that point, what do you view as like the most likely future prospects for neutrality and non-alignment in the years or decades ahead? Do you view a place for it in the international system, a growing place for it, a shrinking place for it?
I definitely see it, and if you just limit neutrality to a very minimum, for example, as a meeting place for superpowers, where if you just remember the pictures of Trump and Putin in Helsinki, where else should they go to? If not to Europe, of course, the world is big, but if at least Europe or some European small states could serve as a bridge builder between the United States and Russia, it's already a good job.
And then one more quick question. So you spoke about Austria kind of as a model for Central and Eastern European states during the Cold War. Do you view Austria's model of neutrality as a model today for other countries as discussed, such as Ukraine or Belarus, Moldova?
Actually, definitely not for Ukraine, definitely not for Georgia. Neutrality can always serve as a model, but it is a question of geopolitics. And if you're talking about Ukraine and Georgia, you have actually just to assume that it is a question if Russia will be ready to reduce its own influence in these countries or not. So from today's perspective, just not a realistic approach.